The Omotoso trial.
Yes, indeed, Francis. The cross-examination of that first witness in that trial, Cheryl Zondi, continued today in the Port Elizabeth High Court. Zondi, of course, gave evidence against televangelist Nigerian Pastor Timothy Omotoso and his co-accused Zukisa, Sitho and Lusanda, Solani. Zondi told the court that Omotoso sexually groomed her for years to be his sex slave. The court was shown a video of a crusade where Timothy Omotoso welcomes Cheryl Zondi back into the church. Advocate Peter Doberman cross-examined her on her demeanor whilst singing emotionally in the church in that video, saying she didn't look fearful. Zondi said she had concealed her fear because she was only 13 years old. Doberman also questioned why Zondi didn't resist Omotoso's intentions when she was just 19 years old. Zondi told the court she never raised any objections because Omotoso had a hold over her. The trial continues. Now, I do have to warn you, of course, that some of the details that have emerged in court are obviously upsetting to some viewers. Age restriction and that sort of thing does matter on this. But we're joined now by our Jayed-Leigh Paulse, who's been covering the story for us for a couple of days now. Jayed-Leigh, good evening to you. I mean, yet another day, another feisty Cheryl Zondi on the stand, and of course Peter Doberman not holding back, still really pushing, and at times the judge having to intervene.
That's very true, Bongani. I mean, I think everyone has applauded Cheryl Zondi for the way in which she's conducted herself during the trial, and the way in which she has actually answered those difficult questions, those insensitive questions at times from the defense advocate Peter Doberman. Some would say that she's feisty, some would say that she's actually hitting back, but she maintains that she's speaking out, Bongani, for all the rape victims, for all those that have been sexually assaulted, sexually molested. And also she wants to have a testimony told so that people who have fallen victim to rape and to sexual abuse, they don't stand alone. So we've seen her really, standing up against defense advocate Peter Doberman during that cross-examination, really answering the questions to the best of her ability, even those difficult questions which we also are having to answer, and actually just maintaining her stance. She would break down in court, but then she would gather herself together, gather her thoughts, compose herself, and then she will continue with the line of questioning. Bongani.
Jayed-Leigh, I want to play a little clip now from what emerged in court today. Again, really giving exactly what you've just said for those of our viewers who didn't see it. We're going to play a little clip of what happened in court today. Really a typical moment of how Cheryl Zondi dealt with the tough cross-examination she was placed under. Have a look.
Could you not have phoned your mother?
I could have.
And asked her for assistance.
I didn't want to tell her because she had warned me. And I didn't want to go back to her telling her what you warned me about is happening again.
You wouldn't have had to tell her. You could have just told her that you need money. You need an air ticket. You need transport to get away from the house.
Well, as you can imagine, there was a lot going on in my head at the time. I didn't think of that. My apologies.
Again, Jayed-Leigh, we're seeing this line of questioning, but it was very interesting to observe also in the court just how the women are part of the drama of what is alleged to have happened here. We saw the judge at one point intervening and reprimanding Omotoso's wife, who continued to chuckle as Cheryl Zondi gave her testimony today. And of course, that line of questioning of why didn't you take these steps if you were really so fearful of this man?
That's very true, Bongani, but I think it was a long time coming. I mean, we saw Timothy Omotoso's wife chuckling and laughing throughout Cheryl Zondi's testimony. So I think it really just got to Judge Mandela Makahula, and he had to reprimand her and make an example out of her as well. I think several of the congregants also have been, laughing during court proceedings and also taking photos during court. They would take photos of Cheryl Zondi, joining the media, because we have been told we are allowed to film the proceedings as well as take photos, tweet, but the general public, we did not expect them to also partake in it. So we saw a lot of the congregants also taking photos of journalists and also taking photos of Cheryl Zondi throughout the trial. So I think Judge Mandela Makahula just brought it back to court and reminded everyone that this is court, this is not a spectacle, and this is not a circus, and that there is protocol in the way in which we conduct ourselves during court proceedings. Also having pulled Taiwo, Timothy Omotoso's wife, into order, saying that, she should not laugh and she should not chuckle or make any comments when Cheryl Zondi is testifying.
Very quickly then, Jayed-Leigh, what happens next? What are we likely to see in the coming days?
Well, Bongani, we have been told by Judge Mandela Makahula that he wants Cheryl Zondi to return, to Johannesburg to write her exams. You would know that she is in university at the moment and she missed a paper on Monday. So he wants her to return. He also said that there will be another witness that will be taken to the stand. State Prosecutor Neba Ntelwa says that he's planning on calling a witness on Monday. But tomorrow, Cheryl Zondi will testify, or she will give her last testimony in court, and we'll see Peter Doberman showing more videos. But before I go, Bongani, with me right now, I do have one of the pastors of the Jesus Dominion International Church, Mr. Asagwu Chooks, and he's going to be also giving us a viewpoint of the church very quickly before we hand back to Johannesburg. Pastor Chooks, thank you very much for joining us. Very quickly, I just want to know, obviously, the Jesus Dominion International Church members have been, at the forefront of this. They've been supporting Timothy Omotoso. Now that Cheryl Zondi has given her testimony, and we know that there will be 48 witnesses that are going to testify, are you still supporting Timothy Omotoso? Do you really still believe in his innocence?
Yes, I really believe in his innocence based on the report, even the one you are talking about now. Sharon gave a place where she said she was molested in 2011, and it was found out that the church never occupied the place in 2011. We moved in there in 2010. So even that is enough evidence to say, you said this thing happened to you, and our lawyer asked her, are you really sure of the place? Said, how can I forget? That was her response. But when the thing came, it was found out that we never rented that place in 2011. So everything that happened in 2011 in a place we were not occupying is a lie, you can see. So how am I not going to feel that what they're saying is a lie when I know what the man did in my own life? I was a drug dealer. I was into fraud. I was doing all kind of illicit businesses. I met this man who is my father in the Lord, Rev. Tim Omotoso. He said to me, get out of this thing. And there were many people, prostitutes. Most of the people you see that are rejoicing there, some of them were doing illicit business, some of them were robbers, some of them were even murderers. People from all kind of illicit things they were doing, they were contrary to the Constitution. And he met them, he prayed for them and told them that these things are not good. You cannot be a prostitute. You cannot continue living your life like this. Those people came out and they're in the church now. So it is contrary to hear that this person that is taking people out of these things is doing these things.
Pastor Chooks, I think everyone back at home, they've been following this case, they've been listening to the court proceedings, and many are saying this is a cult. Is the Jesus Dominion International Church a cult?
Okay. I want you to understand, when you come to a country or when you want to register an organization, you have to specify what you are registering. As we were registering this organization or this church, we registered it as Jesus Dominion International Church, and it is an open place. The door is open. You can even go there tomorrow. You can even go there anytime. So everything that is done there, we have our own TV station, Jesus Dominion in ADBN, so Ancient of Days, the broadcasting network. We have our things. You watched the video there today of how these children were, singing in the church. The joy was there. The excitement was there. Is it how things are done in the cart? What you saw today. So people may have, I don't know how they define cart. For me, everything you saw there today they were things that were done in the church. And I've told you, I don't know the cart that is taking prostitutes out of the street. I don't know the cart that is taking people that are drug dealers out of the street. I don't know the cart that is taking murderers out of the street. I have not heard a cart like that. So if that is what they define as cart, I don't know.
Pastor Chuks, when we look at the church, very quickly, when we look at the church, we've seen them rejoicing when it rains, when it thunders. I mean, just in the week now, a moon appeared over the Port Elizabeth High Court and the congregants screamed, saying, this is Omotoso speaking to them. All of this, I mean, the general public is looking at this and they feel that some of the congregants are brainwashed. I mean, as a senior pastor in the Jesus Dominion International Church, is this normal? Is this praise worshipping normal? Calling him daddy?
Okay, the meaning, I don't know whether you know the actual meaning of daddy. He never told us to call him daddy. He was a daddy to us. He was a father figure to us. He was doing something a daddy could do. And that was why we decided to call him daddy. There was never a day he announced to us that and said to us, we must call him daddy. So when you see somebody and you say daddy, it's sending a lot of message. That means this person has been a father to you. That is how the church operates. It's not that if you call him something contrary, he's going to beat you. We are the ones that chose to call him daddy. So people that are rejoicing outside because of rain, or rejoicing because of whatsoever they are rejoicing over, that is their own personal view. There was never a time the reverend came to them and said the rain he is a rain, or he is this and that and this and that. He preaches the gospel according to the word of God, and people can give their own.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time. Sorry, Pastor Chuks. Well, there you go. Have it, Bongani, the Pastor Chuks, senior pastor in the Jesus Dominion International Church, saying that they are still supporting Timothy Omotoso and they will support him until the trial is finished. It's back to you in studio.
Right, thank you very much to Jayed-Leigh Paulse covering that story for us in Port Elizabeth. It's been much discussed on social media. We look forward to your reactions in terms of what you saw today and what you heard in that interview.